Before he died, he made a confession that shocked the world, a secret about heaven and hell that few dared to believe. For centuries, people have imagined heaven as clouds and angels and hell as nothing more than fire. But hidden in the Bible and ancient texts are descriptions so intense, so vivid, they shatter every modern idea of eternity. What if heaven is not just a resting place, but a radiant city of light, with golden streets, rivers of life, and a brilliance that makes every kingdom on earth look like dust? And what if hell is not just flames, but a realm of darkness, so crushing, so cold, that even fire feels like mercy compared to the loneliness of a soul cut off from God? Why were these images concealed for so long? Could it be that humanity was never ready to face the truth, that eternity is not a metaphor, but the ultimate reality? In this video, we will uncover the hidden descriptions of heaven and hell that most people have never heard. You will see why ancient prophets spoke in trembling voices, and why these visions still shake readers today. Some will say it is literal, others will argue it is a warning wrapped in symbol. But either way, it demands one question. Where are you preparing to spend forever? Share your thoughts in the comments. Are these visions pure allegory or glimpses of a reality beyond imagination? And stay with me, because what you're about to hear could change the way you see life, death, and eternity itself. Heaven, a city too glorious to imagine. Imagine standing at the gates of a city of light where every step you take shines beneath your feet, because the very streets are made of pure gold. This is not fantasy. It is how the book of Revelation describes the New Jerusalem. But this gold is not the kind you see in jewelry stores. It is not about wealth or power. It is a gold so clear, so refined, it looks like transparent glass. It represents something far greater, purity, a life completely free from corruption, pain, or fear. The very light of God fills every corner, and there is no night, no shadow, no need for the sun or the moon, because the glory of God is the eternal source of brightness. Now pause and think about the most beautiful cities on earth. New York with its endless lights, Paris with its romance, Dubai with its towering skyscrapers. We marvel at them. We travel miles to see them. We take photos to prove we stood there. And yet, every shining skyline, every wonder of architecture fades into dust compared to the eternal city described in Scripture. For what human hands build can crumble, but what God creates is everlasting. Heaven is not simply better than earth. It is an entirely new reality where the highest dreams of mankind are only faint shadows of what awaits. The Bible calls it the place where a river of life flows from the throne of God. Imagine water so pure it sparkles like crystal, nourishing everything it touches. Along this river stands the tree of life, bearing fruit in every season, its leaves bringing healing to the nations. This imagery is more than poetry. It is the divine promise that in heaven, brokenness will finally be made whole. Every wound healed, every tear wiped away, every division reconciled. Think of a world where no one is sick, no one is hungry, no one is lonely. A world where the very environment radiates life and wholeness. But heaven is not only a landscape, it is a community. It is described as a city, not a private garden, because heaven is the eternal gathering of souls who chose love over hate, light over darkness. Imagine walking those streets and meeting people from every nation, every century, every walk of life, all united not by culture or power, but by the presence of God Himself. The human heart longs for belonging, and heaven is the place where that longing is finally fulfilled. No fear of rejection, no envy, no betrayal, only unbreakable fellowship. Even more astonishing is that in heaven we are not passive. It is not an endless retirement or a boring cloud-filled eternity. Heaven is portrayed as the center of new life, buzzing with energy, purpose, and creativity. Just as God created the world and called it good, those who share his presence will live in ceaseless discovery, learning, creating, worshipping, and ruling alongside him. It is the restoration of what was lost in Eden, a life of pure harmony with creation and the Creator. Think of how, even now, a single sunset or a melody can overwhelm us with beauty. If such moments can move us to tears in this broken world, how much more powerful will beauty be when it is untainted, when it flows endlessly from the source of all beauty? That is why every description of heaven uses imagery that pushes the limits of human language. Streets of gold, gates of pearl, foundations of precious stones, because nothing ordinary can capture the extraordinary glory that awaits. The lesson here is profound. Heaven is not meant to be imagined as an escape from life, but as the ultimate fulfillment of life. It is the place where every righteous desire finds its completion. When we choose to walk in purity, kindness, and faith today, we are not missing out on the pleasures of this world. We are preparing our souls for pleasures far greater, pleasures that never fade. Think of someone resisting greed or selfishness in this life, not because they are denied joy, but because they are destined for a joy too immense to be traded for anything temporary. Consider how ancient believers held on to this vision. Many early Christians lived in poverty, faced persecution, and died in obscurity. Yet they spoke of heaven with unshakable certainty. Why? Because they knew their suffering was temporary and their reward eternal. They saw beyond what was visible. That same vision has carried countless people through dark times, reminding them that this world is not the end. Even in modern life, when stress, injustice, or grief feels overwhelming, the thought of an eternal city where justice reigns and love never ends can give strength to keep going. And here lies the gentle but urgent truth. Heaven is not simply a faraway dream, it is the destination shaped by the choices we make every day. If the human heart longs for light, love, and belonging, then heaven is the natural fulfillment of that longing. But longing alone is not enough. Heaven is entered through alignment with God, through walking the path of truth and compassion. This means the way we forgive, the way we love, the way we treat even the least important person matters forever. Every act of goodness echoes into eternity. Think of this: one small seed can grow into a mighty tree. In the same way, one small act of kindness today may be the seed of eternal joy tomorrow. One word of encouragement may ripple into eternity. This is the hidden wisdom in the promise of heaven. It teaches us that nothing good is ever wasted. The smallest choice of love becomes part of the eternal story. As we hold this vision of a radiant city too glorious to imagine, it prepares our hearts for the next contrast. If heaven is light, then hell is darkness. If heaven is belonging, hell is isolation. The Bible paints not only the reward, but also the warning. And so, to understand the full weight of eternity, we must now turn our eyes from the streets of gold to the abyss of separation, from eternal light to the chilling depths of eternal night. For only when we see both can we grasp the true power of the choice that lies before every soul. Hell, darkness beyond fire. When most people think of hell, they imagine flames, smoke, and endless burning. But the ancient texts, from the Bible to the Book of Enoch, reveal something even more terrifying. A place of darkness so overwhelming that the fire is not the greatest pain. It is the absence of light, the absence of hope, the absence of God. Imagine not just heat, but a silence so crushing it echoes. A loneliness so deep it devours the soul. That is the true essence of hell, not merely torment of the body, but the eternal breaking of the spirit. The scriptures describe hell as the outer darkness, where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. This is not only about physical suffering, it is about separation. Every human heart was designed to be connected to its creator. In hell, that connection is forever cut off. Think of the deepest heartbreak you've ever felt, the moment when you felt abandoned, forgotten, or betrayed. Now, magnify that pain into eternity. That is why hell is so dreadful, not just for the flames, but because it is the eternal echo of being without love. The Book of Enoch speaks of multiple levels of punishment, each one reflecting the sins of those who refused to turn from darkness. The Apocalypse of Peter describes sinners crying out from rivers of fire and rivers of blood, each punishment revealing the weight of their choices. Dante's Inferno, though a medieval poem, echoes this vision. Layers of torment matched to pride, greed, deceit, or cruelty. These writings remind us that hell is not random suffering. It is justice, a mirror that forces every soul to face the consequences of its own path. But let us be clear, the greatest mistake modern readers make is to think of hell as only physical torture. That image of fire, chains, and demons is only the surface. The true agony of hell is the loss of the soul. Imagine living forever, without purpose, without belonging, without love. That is worse than fire. It is the burning of meaning itself. This is why the descriptions are so vivid. Rivers of flame, endless night, gnashing teeth. They are symbols pointing to a reality the human mind can barely grasp. To bring this closer to home, think about moments when life felt empty. Depression, addiction, betrayal, or guilt can make the soul feel trapped in its own personal hell. Those moments, though temporary in this life, give us only a faint glimpse of the eternity described in Scripture. They are warnings written in our very experience, showing us that when we choose selfishness, hatred, or pride, we taste a small shadow of what eternal separation looks like. But if even those moments hurt so deeply now, how unbearable would it be if they never ended? This is where the lesson shines through. Hell is not created to scare us into obedience. It is revealed so that we understand the seriousness of choice. Every action, every decision of love or cruelty, every word that heals or wounds is shaping a destiny beyond time. To live with indifference as though our choices carry no eternal weight is the greatest tragedy of all. Imagine a student who ignores every lesson and refuses to prepare for the final exam. When the day comes, failure is inevitable. In the same way, to live without preparing the soul is to step toward a destiny of darkness. And yet, in even the darkest descriptions, there is a warning that carries healing. If hell is separation, then every step toward God, every act of forgiveness, every moment of compassion is a step away from that abyss. This is the hidden hope inside the frightening images. They are not given to paralyze us with fear, but to awaken us before it is too late. Fear alone cannot save, but awareness can awaken the soul to choose light. Think about how society often trivializes hell, turning it into a joke or a curse word. How many times have you heard someone say, "I've been through hell," when they mean difficulty? But when Scripture uses the word, it is not exaggeration. It is reality magnified to its eternal scale. To dismiss it lightly is to miss its warning. Imagine laughing at a storm while refusing to build shelter, only to be swept away when it arrives. The texts speak of hell with such intensity not because God delights in punishment, but because love demands truth. To warn is to love. Now here is the transition that matters. When we see hell for what it is, it magnifies the beauty of heaven. Darkness makes the light brighter. Despair makes hope more precious. Isolation makes belonging more powerful. The contrast is intentional. Heaven and hell are not random destinations. They are the full harvest of seeds planted in this life. To understand the value of light, we must see the danger of darkness. And so the scriptures describe both, not to divide our imagination, but to sharpen our choice. As we move forward, keep this in mind. The hidden descriptions of eternity are not there to shock us for entertainment. They are there to reveal the gravity of our journey. Heaven and hell are not myths. They are mirrors of the soul's direction. Every moment, every choice, every heartbeat is moving us closer to one or the other. And now, having seen the overwhelming glory of heaven and the chilling despair of hell, we are ready to uncover the lesser-known, shocking images of eternity that most people have never heard. Visions that go beyond clouds and flames into realms that still astonish readers today. The hidden descriptions that shock modern readers. Most people today carry simple images in their minds. Heaven as fluffy white clouds with angels strumming harps, and hell as endless flames beneath the earth. But the ancient texts, the Bible, the Book of Enoch, the Apocalypse of Peter, and other forgotten writings, unveil descriptions far more shocking. Images that modern readers often struggle to accept. Imagine stepping into a realm where the punishment is not just fire, but an abyss of ice so cold it burns, where fallen angels are bound in chains beneath frozen darkness, and rivers do not flow with water, but with fire mixed with blood. These are not images born of fantasy. They are echoes of visions that terrified even the most faithful. The idea of a frozen hell shocks us, because our minds have been trained to imagine only fire. Yet in the Book of Enoch, certain rebellious angels are locked away in an abyss of ice, their cries muffled by the weight of eternal frost. In this vision, hell is not just heat, it is paralysis, the absence of movement, the suffocating silence of cold. Fire consumes, but ice isolates. And when you think about it, both are equally terrifying. Which is worse, to burn forever or to freeze into stillness, forgotten in eternal night? Then there are the rivers, rivers not of life, but of fire and blood. Imagine a torrent of liquid flame rushing like molten lava, carrying with it cries of despair, souls swept away in its current, unable to escape. The Apocalypse of Peter describes sinners plunged into rivers of punishment, each current a reminder of the choices they made on earth. This imagery may seem extreme, but it carries a haunting truth. Every action, every cruelty, every betrayal has consequences that flow beyond this life, like streams gathering into a river that one day returns to us. These descriptions shock modern readers because we live in an age where hell is often treated as a cartoon, a joke, or an outdated myth. Movies, comics, and casual language have reduced it to a fiery background for demons with pitchforks. Heaven, likewise, is reduced to clouds and halos. But the ancients painted with heavier strokes, using imagery that pierced the heart and seared the conscience. Their visions were not designed for entertainment, they were meant to awaken the soul. Think about it this way. In a world where we scroll endlessly, distracted by glowing screens and fleeting pleasures, what could possibly break through the noise? Only something shocking, something that forces us to stop and reflect. A description of ice in hell feels unnatural, but that very strangeness jolts us awake. A river of fire and blood sounds grotesque, but it forces us to confront the seriousness of sin. The more unsettling the vision, the more powerful the warning. And yet, even in their horror, these images carry meaning beyond fear. The abyss of ice can be seen as the symbol of a heart grown cold, where love has died and compassion is frozen. The river of fire and blood can symbolize the destructive flow of human violence, anger, and hatred, the endless wars and cruelty that stain history. The torment is not only punishment, it is the natural harvest of what we choose. Just as seeds grow into trees, hatred grows into destruction. The visions reveal that eternity is not arbitrary. It is the magnification of the path we walk today. Consider the lesson. When we let our hearts grow cold, when we treat others with indifference, we are already tasting the frozen abyss. When we let rage or violence rule, we are already swimming in a river of fire. Hell is not only a place out there, it begins in the choices we make. And if this world already shows us glimpses of such suffering, what will eternity look like if we do not turn? This is why modern readers find these hidden descriptions so shocking. We are comfortable with simple ideas. Flames and clouds are easy to imagine. But to read of prisons of ice, rivers of blood, or demons chained in darkness feels almost unbearable. It challenges our sanitized view of eternity. It makes us wrestle with whether these images are literal realities or divine metaphors pointing to something even greater than words can capture. And that question itself sparks debate. Are these visions symbolic warnings designed to shake us awake? Or are they glimpses of an actual reality waiting beyond death? Perhaps the real power is not in choosing one answer, but in letting the question pierce us. Because whether literal or symbolic, the message is the same. Eternity is real, choices matter, and there is more to life than what we see. The shocking visions are not meant to push us into despair, but to shake us out of complacency. They are alarms, not prisons. They call us to awaken, to choose light before darkness becomes permanent. So here lies the small but urgent lesson. Do not dismiss the shocking because it makes you uncomfortable. Sometimes the very images that disturb us most are the ones that hold the deepest truth. Just as a doctor's warning may sound frightening, but saves a life, the terrifying visions of ancient texts are there to save the soul. They reveal that what we laugh at, ignore, or deny today may be the very thing we face tomorrow. And as we move forward, having seen heaven's radiant beauty and hell's suffocating despair, and now these hidden, shocking descriptions that break every stereotype, we are left with the question, why would God reveal such terrifying images in the first place? What is the deeper purpose behind these visions? The answer lies not in fear, but in love. The love that warns, the love that calls, the love that urges us to choose light before it is too late. And this takes us to the message behind the vision itself. The message behind the vision. Why would God and the ancient writers describe heaven and hell with such terrifying, breathtaking images? Streets of gold, rivers of life, an abyss of fire, prisons of ice, chains of darkness. These are not bedtime stories. They are not designed to entertain or to frighten for the sake of fear. They exist because the human soul needs to be awakened. The truth is simple. These visions are not decorations. They are directions. They reveal that eternity is not random. It is the natural harvest of the choices we make today. Think about it. If heaven is painted as light, joy, belonging, and life, and hell as darkness, despair, isolation, and death, it is not to scare us into submission, but to show us the contrast of our two possible destinies. Every moment we live, we are sowing seeds into one of these eternal gardens. Every act of compassion, every decision to forgive, every word that brings hope is a step toward the city of light. Every act of cruelty, pride, indifference, or selfishness is a step toward the abyss of separation. Eternity is not built in one instant. It is shaped by countless choices of the heart. This is why the imagery is so intense. If the Bible had simply said, heaven is good, hell is bad, would anyone have paused to reflect? Would anyone have turned from destruction? The fiery words, the golden streets, the rivers of flame, the chains of ice. These are divine alarms. They stir the imagination. They make us feel the weight of our path. Just like a parent warning a child not to run into a burning fire, God's warnings are sharp because the danger is real. And yet behind every warning is not cruelty, but love. Consider an example from daily life. A doctor tells a patient, "If you continue to ignore this illness, it will destroy your body." That warning is frightening, but it is not given out of hatred. It is given to save. The shocking visions of judgment work the same way. They are meant to open our eyes before it is too late. When Jesus spoke of the narrow road that leads to life and the wide road that leads to destruction, he was not painting metaphors for poetry's sake. He was pointing out the urgency of choice, the reality that the easy road of selfishness leads to emptiness, while the difficult path of faith leads to joy beyond imagining. But here is the healing truth. The visions of heaven and hell are not just about the future. They are about the present. When the Bible speaks of heaven as peace, joy, and love, it is not only describing what happens after death, it is showing us what happens when God's presence fills our lives even now. And when it describes hell as torment, emptiness, and despair, it is also revealing what happens when we cut ourselves off from God here on earth. Have you ever felt the heaviness of bitterness, the suffocation of guilt, the endless hunger for more, no matter what you achieve? That is a taste of hell. And have you ever felt the overwhelming joy of forgiveness, the peace that comes from surrender, the radiant love of belonging? That is a glimpse of heaven. Eternity begins here. The ancients understood this connection better than we do today. For them, the visions of eternity were mirrors of the soul. When they read of the radiant city, they saw hope for their suffering. When they read of rivers of fire, they saw warnings against injustice and cruelty. And this is why their words are still alive today. They speak across centuries because the human heart is the same. We still long for light, and we still stumble in darkness. The choice remains before us. Here lies the lesson we must hold close. These visions are not just theology. They are guidance for how to live. Heaven reminds us that love, purity, and faith are not wasted, even when unseen. Hell reminds us that cruelty, pride, and indifference are never without consequence. Every action carries weight. Every choice echoes in eternity. And this truth should not fill us with fear, it should fill us with purpose. Imagine living every day knowing your words could plant seeds of eternal joy in someone else's life. Imagine treating every encounter as sacred, every act of kindness as a building block of the city of God. That is the power of seeing life through the lens of eternity. And yet, there is a hidden comfort in these terrifying descriptions. For if God took such care to warn us with visions so vivid, does it not mean that he longs for us to choose life? A God who delights in punishment would never warn so clearly. But a God who loves warns precisely because he wants no one to perish. The severity of the vision is proof of the depth of his love. The louder the alarm, the greater the danger, and the louder the alarm, the greater the desire to save. Even in modern times, this lesson applies. Think of the countless choices we face daily: what to value, how to treat others, how to use our time. We are surrounded by distractions, by empty pleasures that promise happiness but leave us hollow. Without reminders of eternity, we drift. That is why these visions, though ancient, are still relevant. They cut through the noise. They force us to ask, what am I really living for? Where is my path leading? And this is where the message pierces deepest. Heaven and hell are not merely distant fates. They are the reflection of what we cultivate now. If we live in love, we already taste heaven. If we live in selfishness, we already taste hell. The visions show us both so that we can see clearly and choose wisely. They call us to live with intention, to wake up from indifference, to take every breath as an opportunity to step closer to light. So the next time you hear of golden streets or rivers of fire, do not dismiss them as fantasy. Do not reduce them to cartoons or distant myths. See them for what they are: love in the form of warning, hope in the form of promise, truth in the form of vision, and let them stir your heart to live differently today. For when you grasp the message behind the vision, you realize eternity is not only about tomorrow, it is about how you live this very moment. And with that realization, we are ready to face the final question that cannot be avoided. If heaven is eternal light and hell is eternal darkness, which path are you walking right now? The answer lies not in theory, but in the choices of your daily life, choices that shape forever. And this takes us into the final reflection: the call to awaken, the call to prepare, the call to decide. In the end, everything we have uncovered about heaven and hell points to one unshakable truth. Eternity is real, and it is shaped by the choices we make every single day. Heaven is not a fairy tale, not a cloud-filled dream. It is the city of light, overflowing with love, joy, and purpose, where every wound is healed and every tear is wiped away. Hell is not just fire. It is darkness beyond fire, a place of isolation, despair, and separation from the very source of life. And the hidden descriptions, the rivers of fire and blood, the abyss of ice, the chains of fallen angels, they all exist to shock us awake, to remind us that the stakes of our lives are unimaginably high. These are not empty symbols, they are mirrors, showing us where our paths are leading. Think about your own life right now. Think about the struggles you face, the people you love, the quiet battles no one else sees. Each moment you forgive when it would be easier to hate. Each time you choose kindness when cruelty feels justified. Each small act of faithfulness in the middle of temptation. You are choosing light. You are stepping toward heaven. And each time you let bitterness consume you, each time you let pride harden your heart, each time you turn away from compassion, you taste the coldness of separation, a shadow of hell. Eternity begins here, and every decision matters more than we dare to admit. What makes these visions so powerful is not that they are meant to terrify, but that they are meant to heal. They remind us that we are not accidents drifting through time. We are eternal souls standing at a crossroads. The ancients wrote with fire in their words because they understood what was at stake. Today, in our modern world of distraction, entertainment, and endless noise, we need that fire more than ever. We need words that pierce the fog, words that shake us from sleep, words that remind us of who we truly are and what we are truly living for. And maybe this is why so many of us are searching for something deeper. We build cities, careers, and reputations, yet still feel a longing that nothing here can satisfy. That longing is the echo of heaven. We fear loneliness, emptiness, and despair, because deep down we know the horror of separation from God. That fear is the shadow of hell. The visions are not far away. They are woven into the fabric of our hearts. They are not distant stories, they are the reflection of our eternal hunger for meaning, light, and love. So let me ask you this. Are you preparing for light or for darkness? Are you living in a way that reflects eternity, or drifting as though there is no end? This is not just about religion, it is about destiny. It is about whether your soul will one day walk streets of gold, filled with endless joy, or wander in shadows where no hope remains. The Bible, the Book of Enoch, the Apocalypse of Peter, they do not sugarcoat eternity, and neither should we. They show us visions that still shock modern readers because truth is meant to stir the heart, to wake us before it is too late. If this message has stirred something in you, if even for a moment you felt your heart pulled toward hope, I want to invite you to carry that spark with you. Do not let it fade when the video ends. Let it guide how you treat others, how you forgive, how you love, how you walk through your daily struggles. Eternity is not waiting passively at the end of life. It is unfolding right now in every choice you make. And the good news is this: no matter how many times you have stumbled, no matter how many mistakes you have made, the path of light is always open. Heaven is not reserved for the perfect. It is prepared for the willing. And if you feel that this message has brought you clarity, peace, or even just a glimpse of eternal hope in the middle of your struggles, I want to gently invite you to support this journey. If this video brought value to your soul, if it gave you light in the middle of dark days, then consider giving back a little energy so we can keep sharing these truths. Every gesture, every act of support, even the smallest, is priceless to me. It is fuel that keeps this mission alive. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being part of this journey. I also want to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe these descriptions are literal glimpses of eternity, or powerful metaphors meant to awaken the soul? Do you think heaven and hell are already within us, shaping us here and now, or only waiting after death? Your perspective matters, and your voice might just spark someone else to think deeper. And if you want to walk with me further, if you want to continue exploring the mysteries of the Bible, the hidden books like Enoch, the shocking prophecies that still echo today, then make sure to like, subscribe, and stay connected. This is not just about watching a video. It is about building a community of seekers who long for truth, light, and transformation. Together, we can spread messages that heal, inspire, and awaken. Remember this: heaven is the fullness of love. Hell is the absence of it. Heaven is eternal belonging. Hell is eternal separation. And every heartbeat is a step closer to one or the other. Live as though your choices matter, because they do, more than you can imagine. If this message has blessed you, if it has lifted you even a little higher, let that blessing ripple outward. Support, comment, share. Carry the light to someone else who needs it. That is how we change not just our lives, but the world. And from my heart to yours, thank you for walking this journey with me. Thank you for listening, for reflecting, for choosing to go deeper when so many settle for shallow distractions. Your presence here is not an accident. You are part of something greater, part of a story that stretches beyond time. Heaven and hell are not myths, not symbols to be laughed away. They are eternal realities that remind us how precious every single soul truly is. And today, you have a choice: to walk in light or to remain in darkness. That choice will echo forever. So let us walk in light together.